Welcome back. It's Patrick McCarthy here with Tri-Cities Community Television. We're back in our Michael Wright Art Gallery, and today we have, I guess, a community champion, or a person that we would call an executive director of CISS. So, Sheri Mahar, welcome into the studio.
Thank you.
And I wrote it down, CISS. But if you could explain to folks what that is and what your society does.
Well, CISS is Community Integration Services Society, and since 1990 we've provided community inclusion services for adults with developmental disabilities.
And I know in Port Coquitlam you're one of those pillars that we have a few communities or societies in Port Coquitlam that support the underserved, I guess, in the community. But you guys basically are, first of all, you're in a heritage home. So
yeah, Melissa Park Lodge.
Yes, which tell folks where it is, because I went for a walk and I just saw it for the first time a couple of weeks ago.
Well, it's located on Mary Hill Road and Central Avenue. So we're lucky. We have great neighbors. We have an elementary school right behind us and a Baptist church on the corner to the left of us.
And the key thing is, do folks live there?
No. People come there from their homes. Some people live on their own. Some people live with their families and in a variety of situations, and they come into our services during the day.
And the whole, I guess, mandate is to help people get into the workforce.
And to help people live a good life, to live a full life. Like all of us, everyone wants to have a job, a place to live, a family, people to love. And so our job is to help people become more independent, helping them get skills so that they can work, continue with education, provide volunteer work if that's their stepping stone to employment, leisure, recreation, just to become part of a community. Yeah,
and I guess for most people, when you're earning some dollars, or you've got a sense of independence. And can you give us a story of how a person who kind of maybe had low confidence joins your society and is sort of working their way into the workforce?
Well, I've got a great story. So this young man came into our services in his mid-20s. Him and his family felt pretty lost. They didn't know what was out there, what was available. He went through the motions of high school and came across fairly typical, but the school just wasn't really sure how to teach him. He was late diagnosed with autism, being in the autism spectrum, but because he was so talented, people were a bit confused by that. He sought out lots of different organizations that are out there and could really find someone that understood what he needed. What our organization does really well is match people with really good support staff who have similar interests. So, he had a really high interest in technology and a talent, but he needed his credentials. He needed to be able to have credentials so that he could become more independent on his own. So we found the perfect staff for him. Together they worked on him achieving his educational credentials through BCIT. He started his own business, and of course our staff are always great at supporting anyone's cause. So we kept him busy with our old clunky computers, fixing them. And then someone hired him. We worked our way out of working with him, and now he works full-time throughout the Lower Mainland. The guy's so busy, he's just a champion. He does all the IT work at the local movie theaters, and his disability is really secondary. Like, people just don't notice that. That's not really, that's just part of who he is, and that's okay. He didn't want to go work in a storefront. He likes to be behind the scenes. He's quieter. And him and his wife now are looking at going on a trip to Belize because he's earning enough money that he can actually do that.
Yeah, it's a beautiful story because, I mean, in the sense, someone who basically is now sufficient. You use the word married, so
he doesn't need us.
He doesn't need you. You guys have done your job.
We've done our job.
You get to kick you out the door and say, "Do not come back."
He helps us a little bit because we're not really IT savvy, so he still does a little bit of work with us, so that keeps us connected.
Yeah, we run on old XT computers here at Tri-Cities, so I understand what clunky means. So I guess the hardest challenge, though, is probably getting companies. I mean, the stigma of mental disability or physical disability. So, what do you tell companies out there what they shouldn't be afraid of and what they should embrace?
We're all having a shortage of employees, including my organization. We're all looking for talent. And there's a lot of hidden talent there if people are given the opportunity. There's all kinds of stats out there that say that a person with a disability is a more reliable employee, that they're going to show up more often, their attitude in the workplace is going to be really good. They're going to work tirelessly to achieve the goal. And so there's a lot of champion organizations and businesses out there that hire people with disabilities. Van City's one of them. I mean, they hire people at a living wage. But there's a lot of employers that I think still think of it as charity, and so they'll hire someone for a couple of hours once a week, and none of us can live on 2 hours once a week. And so I think there's still more work for us to do to convince people that, what have you got to lose, right? It just opens up the door. And most people, when you go into a business, you want to see a diverse company. You want to see someone that hires people that come from all parts of the world and all parts of the community, and that's going to get you more business than just hiring the people that you think would be the perfect people in those jobs.
Yeah, I agree, because most companies need customers, and customers, either have family members or there's challenges in inclusivity. So I totally agree. And I think the other point too is you talk about it's a living wage. Some people think, that they can't do the job, it'll take longer, or we'll pay them less, and that'll be, that's so it's not like it's I guess for a business going into it, it should be in the sense of wanting to find a good employee, to find the fit, and not really focus on, I can get cheap labor or free labor.
Well, small businesses have a lot of challenges, and we understand that with the employer health tax, WorkSafe rates, all those things. But we have one gentleman who works for a parts business, and with his personality type, he's not satisfied unless everything goes back exactly where it needs to go. And who would you want in your warehouse putting away parts? He's not going to take any shortcuts. He's going to make sure it returns where it needs to. And when he gets to that location, if there's something that doesn't fit there, he'll notice it right away and move it to where it needs to fit.
So, and I guess a big part of your strategy is we hear these terms social enterprise. I mean, and really that just means that you're combining a lot of social with the sort of the transacting of a business, and that's kind of, I guess, the training ground. Would you call that the training ground?
Yeah, well, for some people, I mean, just like all of us, the people we support all want different things. So some people want to be in a store and have coworkers and people around them every day, and other people like to be in the background. And so we have some people that are quite talented in the kitchen. They did some training at our Kyle Kitchen program at Kyle Center in Port Moody, and did that through volunteer work, making lunches and homemade soups for seniors, which, by the way, has now opened up to all members of the community. But we then took that talent and said, how can we give work to people in a different way that just don't want to be part of a restaurant or a food industry? So we got a greenhouse through a grant. We started growing our own herbs. We created our own signature dips. And so we have our greenhouse crew that make those dips that get sold at places like the P&E and different markets that are out there. And then we have our dessert crew, and they make all kinds of squares and veggie plates and fruit plates, but they're not really interested in being part of going into a business. So you can order that stuff online on our website.
So basically that's it. Like, you have the catering service. You run a couple of coffee shops around town.
Well, coffee house at Place Millarville.
Yeah, and then you have a lunch. You have a catering. I guess we've got a lunch thing. So the catering is sort of like, if I have a wedding, I can just call you up. If I have a business,
you have an event.
What's the minimum I should be looking at for an order?
Well, probably even a week's notice, depending on the number of people. I mean, mostly it's business meetings or smaller events that we've done. A bigger event would need a couple weeks notice to get the crew together. Yeah,
so basically if you've got something coming in a week, you got a meeting of 4 or 5 people on a Friday, call you guys up, and there's some veggie options, I assume, because you have the garden.
Yeah.
All right. and so that kind of is the cornerstone of getting things happening. So is there anything we've missed? Because it sounds like, it sounds like you're working yourself out of a job, but at the same time, I'm sure there's more people coming in the door. So how, outside of catering, what can people do to help you?
Well, I mean, it's always good to donate to a charity, and our organization and my board of directors have a goal to expand our services, and that's really what we want to work on in our 30th year, is to provide different types of services, because families need it. We want to do respite, we want to do maybe some, supportive housing, all those things. So, you know, coming out to our events, supporting events as we advertise them on our website. We have a multicultural event coming up soon and at the end of May every year, and we would like to have entertainers come out and volunteer for the day for that. And just keeping an eye on our website and seeing what's coming up, what's new, and supporting in whatever way you can.
Well, I want to thank you very much for coming in. I know it's a job, but it's definitely one of those I call a community hero job. So
thank you.
So my heart goes out to you and to your team. So
thank you so much. It's my pleasure.
So it's ours to have you here. So there's Sheri. Sheri is executive director for CISS. So if you are out there, you've got some catering work that you want to have, give them a call. It's a great way to give back to the community. If you've got you're having trouble finding people to work in your company, and you're not too sure how you can leverage CISS, give them a call as well. It sounds like they match you up with the right kind of people. If anything, it's always giving back. It's always feeling good about yourself and where you're going in your company. And if you help someone out, it can't hurt. So thanks for watching again. This is Patrick McCarthy reporting with Tri-Cities Community Television. So thanks. It was good. Thanks for coming in. It was 2 pages became 10 minutes, but that's how it does.